I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Board of Leavenworth County Commission. I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the record, all three commissioners are present. I'd like to have a moment of silence and ask everybody to remember the Sutherland Springs mass shootings in the Baptist Church. I'd like to start off with public comment. Anybody wishing to speak in public comment, please come forward, state your name and address.
Steve Rosenthal, 22715 171st Street, Placer, Kansas. Here today, actually Jeff Joseph told me I might want to address an issue that I guess was brought up last week. Not sure why it was brought up or anything, but it was something that he thought, and of course I saw it on your YouTube videos, and by the way, I enjoy your YouTube videos, and I'm glad you have them. I got tired of reading the minutes.
Thank you.
I like that a lot better than that. I get them in a timely manner also. So anyway, I guess it was brought up that we don't say the Pledge of Allegiance before our meetings. Been on the planning and zoning 20 plus years. I don't know exactly how many, but we've never said it. I don't know why we've never said it. I guess when I got on there, we didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance before our meetings, so it was something we never did. So we've never addressed it in any way or shape or form. Not sure why it was addressed here or why Mr. Van Paris was needing to get involved in it. Also, I guess you instructed him to. Did you find out anything about that?
Commissioners, the commission asked me if there's a requirement that the Pledge of Allegiance be stated before meetings. I cannot find any such requirement. If the Planning Commission wishes to state or bring up the Pledge of Allegiance, I think that's up to their prerogative.
And I think at our next meeting on Wednesday, I will bring it up and see what the consensus is for that. I'm like I say, I hope we never did anything wrong on that. So anyway, but we've got 8 members. Lewis, have you have anything on a new member yet?
I just got that today.
Today?
Yeah. So
okay.
I'll be looking for somebody to serve on the Planning Commission in District 2.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Well, we have good members, good people on there, and you know they're showing their patriotic by being there and volunteering their time and doing that. And like I say, I didn't think it was an issue. If it is, we'll surely address it. And I will bring it up at our next meeting, and whatever the consensus of the commission is, as far as I'm concerned, is fine with me. I surely don't have a problem doing that. So.
I didn't feel it.
Is that your pacemaker?
I didn't know what that was. I thought somebody was shooting at me.
Yeah. Well, the planning board member, you know, you're good.
I'm not.
You can even have a moment of silence at your meetings if you'd like.
Well, I will bring that up again, and I will do the consensus. One thing we do is when we make a decision, if it's unanimous decision, 8-0, 9-0 when you get your new member in, or 5-4 or 5-3. Once that decision is made, it's the board's decision, and we all honor that decision. And I don't think you'll find anybody on the board that doesn't totally agree with that. So
Well, Mr. Rosenthal, I think this, I'm speaking for the board, we appreciate it. The members that do give their time to volunteer, I think the world would be a lot better off if more people did that.
Yeah, well, like I
And
said.
we appreciate everything you do.
I think that our patriotism speaks for itself, so, but saying the Pledge of Allegiance is sure good, and everybody should do it. So I appreciate your time, and I'll let you get on to the business of the county, and look forward to seeing you all later on today.
Just tell them, don't take a knee, okay?
Okay.
No knees.
No knees, okay.
All right.
Everything else is theirs.
All right, and thanks for watching us on our YouTube.
Oh, I do, and like I say, I enjoy that a lot more than reading the minutes, and sometimes it took the minutes a long time to get posted,
Right.
and then you don't get the full value of everything as you do on the video. So I really appreciate you doing that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Then we'll close this portion of public comment and go on to administrative business. Mr. Lawfrey, we have anything?
I don't have.
The planning commission thing we just addressed.
That would be it.
Just that there'll be Mr. Klemp will have to bring someone forward to be appointed.
Yeah. We also will put it out and advertise so other people can
Please.
apply.
Thank
And anybody that comes in will provide, if they submit an application, we'll provide it to the entire board to review before we put it on the agenda for approval, so y'all have a chance to.
If it gets over 100, cut it off at 100.
Okay, if it gets over 100, that would be a good thing, but I don't see that happening.
But
it
that
will.
person will have to come from the second district, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Anything else at this time? Anybody, we have any presentations at this time?
No presentations at this
All
time.
right. Has the commissioners had a chance to look over the consent agenda items?
Yes, I have.
Commissioner Holland, you got any questions on any of it? Commissioner Klemp, you got any questions?
I had two quick questions here.
Okay.
And it's just, in general, it's on the check, and it's on your weekly debrief, the Genesis that we,
Yep.
and you don't have, if you,
Yeah. I'm working on that. I'll have a report for the board probably in the next week or so.
and there was one other one that had a whole bunch of remarks, page 9. These pages aren't,
No, these aren't.
no.
Yeah, they're numbered.
At the top right.
Top right? Yeah, page 8, okay, page 8. It talks about juvenile something or other, corrections, a whole bunch of, in the middle there, security transport services.
This a contract carrier, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's juvenile community corrections. Whenever we have to transport, this company provides transport services for them.
okay, just sort of curious. I saw about 5 of them there.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't have any other questions, and I'll move to approve the consent agenda. Ms. Bosco.
Do you have any questions, Commissioner? All right, then I'll second that. Voting?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Are we ready for appraiser's quarterly report? Or no, we got Public Works first. I'm sorry.
We have
Dave.
we have 2 formal action items, one being the transfer station pit scales and the other one being the road projects.
Yeah. We'll let Trevor go first. He always spends the most amount of money.
And that's what I'm here for.
That's right.
Good morning, Commissioners. We would like to get approval to replace the lower pit scales out at the transfer station. We did bid these out. WH Scale out of Topeka was the lower bid at $43,000. So we would like to go with them.
Is it in the,
It's in their
Your budget?
facility improvement budget, yes.
okay? I don't have any problems. I'll move to approve it.
I'll second it. Voting?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And you able to get a KDHE glowing review without that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trevor. Mr. Lujan?
Good morning, Commissioners. Following up on the work session we had a couple weeks ago, I have created a list of 15 projects based on our 2016 traffic counts. 7 of those 15 projects we're currently working on. I request approval to proceed with the remaining projects on that list using a combination of sales tax funds and road improvement fees.
Okay. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the property acquisition on 182nd Street, are we gaining any ground there?
We still have 4 or 5, I think 5 that we haven't acquired yet. So that one, if we push it, we can feasibly construct that probably late next year, next
Okay.
summer, next fall.
How long are we going to give them to sign up before we go to condemnation?
Well, if the board chooses to proceed, we'll probably after the first of the year start the condemnation process.
So you want to give them basically another month and
Yeah, about
2
2 more
months.
months, yeah.
All right, well, I guess we should give them 30 days, and then by then, we'll know
Well,
for sure.
Yeah, we need to make them an offer, a monetary offer, and then if
Okay.
we still can't come to an agreement, then we'd have to proceed with condemnation.
Okay, and how long does condemnation usually take, Mr. Van Paris?
Bearing any unforeseen circumstances, 60 to 90 days.
Okay. Well, we need to get that done over the winter months, wouldn't,
Correct, and then we could start utility relocation once that's completed.
okay.
How far along are we on this project?
182nd is designed, and we are acquiring right-of-way right now.
Is it a chip and seal road, or is it
Yes, it'll be
one
chip
of your
seal.
magic roads?
No, it'll be chip seal,
Okay.
yes.
Because I was going to say, you're talking about 750,000. Should that have been a road that we put in the bid package?
Well,
It will be bid.
it'll be put out to bid for construction.
Okay, and
Yes.
and it's not one of our projects.
It was designed by previous staff. I've reviewed it and made some minor tweaks, so
Okay, but-
I will sign off on those plans.
It's not going to be one that our crew does.
No,
That's where I'm
We,
It'll be bid out to
talking about
private
this for
contract.
10 years.
Well, but there's no hurry, because 207th was at least 15, 20 years, so.
Well, there is a hurry, because this one's got 537 cars a day on it.
Yeah, but aren't there some people that come to this meeting because?
Oh, they're running the traffic count up?
I don't know what they're doing, but you know, if we get that road settled, some of these guys aren't going to show up, and that really.
Oh, yeah, no, they're signed on for the long haul.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Okay, so
so what do you
is that a
need?
consensus
Is that all you need?
give them about 30 days and then make an offer?
Well,
No, we've asked for donation at this point. I don't know what their reasoning is for not donating. At this point, that's all we've asked for is donating in exchange for the road improvement.
Well, they're very honorable, hardworking people, and they decided they wanted something for nothing, because there's a whole bunch of people out there getting something for nothing anyway, so I go along with them.
Well, this isn't the,
Didn't hear me?
this isn't your typical PRP road. I mean, it's done got past the 400 cars a day for a low volume road, so we have to fix it.
No, I was talking about freebies.
Oh, well, yeah, I know, but
So they're entitled to something. Yes,
I've talked to everybody that, I'm sure that he hasn't got a letter from yet, and they all agree they're gonna sign it. It's
okay,
just a matter, I'd say, it's laying on the kitchen table.
okay.
And I asked Sarah last week if maybe they could give these people a call, rattle their chain.
Mm-hmm,
But I've talked to them 3 or 4 times. They're getting tired of seeing me.
okay. All right.
I think what we're looking for today is just approval that these be the road projects that Public
Yes.
Works continue to work on.
Absolutely.
As far as the process, Mr. Luchin will work that out with Mr. Van Paris.
Okay.
and I'll move to approve the 15 projects listed below using road improvement fee and the sales tax fee, funds.
Voting?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll use a combination.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Bob.
Yeah. Stand them down.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have anything else, David?
Well, I got
All right, thank you. Mr. Weber?
Morning.
Morning.
Appraisal quarter report. The field staff, we finished our 17% reinspection that we're required to do every year, 1/6 of the property, so we make it through the whole county in 6 years. We inspected 7,115 properties for not only the reinspection, but sales, building permits, anything else. So that it comes out to be about 23 to 25% usually. We usually get to every year because of those. We're currently working on producing 2018 values. We have to have those out, change of value notices out by the 1st of March every year. So we're currently working on those. We're pretty close. We'll start our final valuation review somewhere around Thanksgiving time is when we usually start that, and we're on track for that. So we're currently doing our studies for those, which I've got some information on. I'll go over at the end here. Sales and building permit numbers, they're about the same as they were last year. There hasn't been a lot of fluctuation. The reports from some realtors, inventories are down some, and we're seeing that in sale prices, or higher sale prices. Right now, we're the mid-year ratio study conducted by PVD. We're valuing at about 93.9% residential properties as to what they're selling for. We got between 90 and 110%. So that's kind of on the low edge that we've ever had, but it is. We just, we don't want to fall below 90%. Then I've got to come up with a plan to correct that. So
How about the commercial end of it?
what's that?
We always talk about
Commercial, we only have 5 sales in there. We were at 103%, but that was 5 sales. So it's kind of hard. That could really fluctuate. You get 5 more sales, 10 more sales in the rest of the year. That median can move quite a bit.
We always talk about residential. They got their good
Right.
deal a few years ago
Yeah.
when they went at 11.5%.
Right,
and we're
right.
there at
Commercial is
25.
it is at 25%. It's in
Yeah.
the Constitution.
So it's always nice to hear what's happening to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I didn't cover that because it was only 5 sales.
Okay,
Like I
thank
said,
you.
that's we received the substantial compliance results recently. I don't know if you got that letter before, but they do an in-depth audit, both sales ratio and the procedural compliance review they do on us every year, and we made all the points on that. We didn't have any deficiencies in those areas. So as I mentioned before, we're doing some analysis right now. Preliminary, we did some market trend areas, and I've got on that last page what we have identified as market trends. These are using 2016, 2017 sales, identifying just exactly what's happening in the market. You see those Leavenworth neighborhoods, all the Leavenworth neighborhoods came right around 3%. So that's where we have 3% of those. In Lansing also. Tonganoxie, Baser area, and the southern rural portion of the county came in at 4%. And then the north area of the Leavenworth County, generally north of Fairmont Road, is where we got that kind of dividing line. Though that was 2.5%. So you can see with what I said, we're at 93%. These trends are coming in at 4%. We probably didn't get to 100% when we valued last year as of January 1st, so we probably were a little short of that, at 97% or something like that, or less, on those.
I think it's interesting that rural south, unincorporated area south of Fairmount Road is the highest average sale price.
Yes, it is, at almost $300,000. It is.
Fortunate to just live south of that.
And our rural sales are our highest average sale prices.
Right. Just think what they would do if we could get some roads blacktop down there, how much homes prices would increase. So,
rural homes are selling really well right now.
Nobody else here got the letter that I got in it. Bob, I loved it. You know how much I love you anyway, right? But I love that approach, looking for sales, for income approach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we sent that all out to all the mini storages.
I put that in the circle file. That was just a cute, cute way to get my business figures, but that's all right. Some of the others just jump in there and give the business figures. I don't give business figures, but I thought it was a cute letter.
Yeah, well, we are required to develop an income approach by law and by PVD, and in order to do that, we have to have some information. So that's one of those compliance checks I said in that compliance letter that we have to.
Right. But see, if you can't get it,
gather that information.
You can't get it by sales. You know, when you're messing with a PVD, they don't have any feelings for anybody in Leavenworth County. So if you're messing with sales and you can't get it on sales and you can't get it on going down to Johnson County, then we come in, let's see how we can get it higher if we go the income approach. It always seems like that. So that's why you don't get any income information from me.
We're just trying to get, income approach is one of the...
That's an approach, but you don't take into consideration the business owner and how they run the business. See, you can have some guy out here just spending all kinds of money doing other things.
Well, that's why we try to take if we get enough information, we can kind of take the averages of them all. So.
I thought it was a good letter.
So are you saying that successful business is penalized?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we don't.
Kind of like a homeowner that takes care of their property?
And I hate to say, you ever notice drive around, in all seriousness, I praise the people of Leavenworth. I'm probably talking to Ox and Baser, although they're building new. But you go through Leavenworth and watch where somebody's taken an old house, put a roof on it, painted it, fixed the wall. There are beautiful homes in Leavenworth and always have been beautiful homes. And these people are fixing these houses up, and you have to admire that. But they're going to get penalized. Somewhere down the line, they're going to get penalized for taking care of what they worked hard for. But that's all right. That's not your job. That's the state's job, and they don't care about anybody in Leavenworth, Johnson County. They don't care about anybody. So, but I think you're doing a good job, Bob.
I agree.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right.
We'll do the adult community corrections next,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
All right. Megan, we'll skip to you because I don't see Jeff in here right now.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Megan. How are you today?
Doing well. Just to get started, our agency has been very busy with personnel. We've had a lot of training going on since our fiscal year started in July. So I know some of these I have reported at the previous commission meeting, but quarters do fall a little different. So I just continued to add that on there. Again, our agency has completed all the recertification for our risk needs assessment, which is called the LSIR. The risk needs assessment is what we perform on our offenders to determine the number of times they need to report to our office and the risks that they have for reoffending in the community. And then again, additionally, what needs they have that we can address with as probation officers. Corey and Jamie attended a VINE training. VINE is a program used throughout the nation and even in some nations across the ocean where they actually keep track of offenders who are incarcerated. So when they're released or transferred, we have that information when keeping documentation and data for when they'll be released or where their locations are. We also attended a conference in Douglas County. That conference ultimately just really kind of broke down some of the new laws through the Kansas Sentencing Commission. We also, I'm in the process of finalizing the ODE certification, which is again the Offender Workforce Development Specialist. I actually do have my graduation starting tomorrow in Topeka, and then I finalize it on Wednesday. So I do believe, hopefully, if everything worked correctly, some of the commissioners did receive emails about attending that graduation ceremony. Again, we've had some directors meeting, department head meetings. We've completed all of our mandatory network computer safety and security through the Department of Corrections. As part of the Offender Workforce Development Specialist, I've also completed my federal fidelity bonding training through Topeka. Therefore, if an offender needs bonding to be employed, I am now certified, and actually I think there's only 3 of us in all of Leavenworth County that are certified to be able to offer those bondings. The bonding is an insurance to employers that if there is any mistrust, such as theft of a property or money from that employer, for that employee, they are receiving an insurance up to $5,000 that would allow the compensation back to the employer.
And you would administer that?
I do administer it. Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Does your department then pay for the policy, or how's that work?
We don't. It's actually a free policy offered through the state of Kansas.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So I've also been working with the jail on that about offering potential opportunities for work release. But it is actually, ironically, what my presentation is about for my graduation. So
that should ease concern for potential employers.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How
That's a
does,
good program.
excuse me, how does Fidelity fall in between federal and bonded?
I have absolutely no idea. It's just the name of the company that we use. It's above my pay grade.
But, it's in my pay grade, but would somebody look into that? I don't understand. I like to know where words fit in there at some time.
I don't know if it's the insurance company that they use.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I thought it was all through Travelers, is all the paperwork that I've received.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I can find out more if you want to.
I'm sure it's just the name of the company, but it's from Latin, the root is Latin, it's for trust.
I think trust died right after common sense, didn't it?
Shortly thereafter.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dave.
Again, we've also been attending some domestic violence summits. This October was Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so we had a lot of programs that we attended in order to help provide services to victims, because although our offenders are on supervision because they have committed crime, they are still victims of, in some cases, of sexual assault or domestic violence. So those are, again, just services that we try to help our offenders become better members of our community. We've also attended the opioid epidemic presentation that was offered right here in Leavenworth, down at the community center a couple weeks ago. And stemming from that, my agency has actually set up one of our lunch and learns with the health department. We have seen an increase in opioid or heroin abuse and use through our caseload, so we're working with the health department and with EMS on how to maybe identify different signs or even help their services as far as the increase that we've had in our office, so they can be aware of it out in the community. In the last, I'd say about 6 weeks, there have been 2 heroin overdoses in our community, so we are trying to see what we can do to try to help educate and prevent those in the future.
Do you wait for the state to move and the federal to move, or can you, like, see, nobody's really talking about the doctors. Mm-hmm. There's your violator.
In the presentation, they actually did have a couple doctors do some presentations as far as how they need to change some of their things as well, some of their policies and regulations. I do think it's a global conversation that we need to have in order to educate from top to bottom as far as the persons who are prescribing the narcotics or the relief of the narcotics to the persons that are monitoring and watching them, such as law enforcement and probation officers.
You know, I'm looking at the bottom up, top to bottom, that's 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe in a decade. But bottom up, Can you not send something to the medical profession here in Leavenworth area saying, it's come to our attention that, we have this opioid breakout, especially in Connecticut, but it's all over. We just had 2 die, you say. So that's 2 out of 76, 77 million, 1,000 rather.
I do know that, again, as part of one of my agency goals, we have those lunch and learns where we do outside agencies that we work with. We invite them in, educate them on what we do as probation officers and see how we can network them. One of the agencies that I have targeted for this year is the St. Vincent's Clinic. That's one of them that I'm going to try to be working with. Again, we've been working with the jail on how to address some of these issues as well. So I think that we're trying to facilitate the conversations. It's just now how to take the approach on it as a community.
I just see a lot of people when they pass on and you go clean out their cabinets, that doctors have been overly generous. They always end up with me saying, well, if you have pain, take a Tylenol, because I don't take it.
I do know the Sheriff's Department just educated us at this training that there is a drop box here at the Justice Center for anyone who has expired or no longer need the prescription.
Yeah, they say the toilets are getting clogged. So, thank you.
You're welcome. And then again, I spoke last week to the University of St. Mary's in their Intro to Criminal Justice class. I do that about once a year. I have one of the professors actually ask me to come out and speak to whatever their class is discussing. Education on the sentencing and then the process of probation, and how, if any of those individuals are interested in shadowing or doing internships with our office, they're more than welcome to come on and talk to us at any point in time. In fact, that's actually how we do have our current intern right now. She is from the University of St. Mary's. As far as with the Department of Corrections, again, I do document some of the previous submissions of reports that were done at the end of July. We did submit our end-of-the-year outcome report to the Department of Corrections. That was submitted in September. As part of the processing of updating things, the Department of Corrections has introduced through our computer program where we document our offenders, a revocation tracking form. So that's one less form that I have to tally and submit to the department every quarter. We are going to try to introduce just specialized trainings for community corrections staff. Right now we co-op in with the parole and the facility workers, which sometimes we don't have the same goals or missions. So we've been finding that at a statewide level, the training has been a little less effective. So they're trying to tailor it towards just the just for the community corrections staff, which are the probation officers like my staff. And then we did submit the first quarter report for the Department of Corrections, which is July 1st through September 30th. It was due in October, and that was submitted on October 10th. As far as the county information goes, we've continued to do our weekly reviews to the county administrator, except for last week. I did forget last week's. But we try to keep those up to date every week. I've joined the Suicide Prevention Committee and the Leavenworth Council on the abuse of prevention of children. That was part of who sponsored the opioid training. So again, I think with working with them, we can really start to network on how to address the addiction overall epidemic in this community. We continue to do our monthly reviews with the county administrator. We also still participate in the health and safety monthly reviews with CARET. We've also completed our co-op plan and have submitted all of that, and we will be practicing our active shooter or active threat through the Sheriff's Department. We've set that up and started the process of kind of going through those drills. We've attended the department head meetings. We've also participated with the trick-or-treaters. Ms. Berry's also been attending all of the policy review meetings offered here with the county as well. Our current budget is at 0.11% remaining for our budget, which is still $153,787.83. That is the total number that we still have remaining, but we don't receive our second payment because we do receive biannual payments. So we'll get our second payment in January for the remainder of that. And then for our behavioral health grant, we're sitting at 98.94% remaining of that budget. So again, that budget was $41,000.
As in other departments, can the state ever say, we want you to keep this program going, but we're dropping out of funding?
In the past, they have asked us to prepare multiple different budgets, 5% reduction, 15% reduction. As of currently, with the current legislature and governor, there's been a big push for the corrections field, so they haven't really touched that budget too significantly. But again, community corrections for the state of Kansas is the first in the entire country. So we're kind of the forefront for a lot of programs, and so they really don't mess too significantly with our budget. If anything, they kind of reduce it a little bit on the facility side, not so much on the field services side.
Thank you.
So. And that behavioral health grant was a $3 million grant that we're awarded for a certain length of time. That's a federal grant. And then we apply per agency at the state. So that's just a grant, but it's also reducing the cost for some offenders who can't pay for services in the community. So that helps pay for mental health evaluations, substance abuse evaluations, domestic violence assessments and evaluations. So there's a huge push for being able to get individuals into treatment even if they can't pay for that, if they're considered indigent. So. Our caseload sizes are still pretty manageable at this point. We're roughly around the 39 to 40 average. We have successfully completed 7 from probation this quarter. Only 1 has been sent to prison for conditions violations. And in that case, there was an individual, that offender actually had 2 cases. The judge sent them to prison on 1 case and then unsuccessfully terminated on another. So it's kind of realistically a wash when it comes to numbers. We have been receiving a lot of cases. We've received 20 at sentencing this quarter. We've received 9 from different agencies. Currently, right now, I have 5 more from different agencies that are supposed to be meeting with me today and Thursday to get started on probation with us. Again, as part of our agency goals, we've continued the lunch and learns. We've had quite a few with the parole office. We've had some with the sheriff's department. We are also having another one with the sheriff's department today. The program that we're working on is trying to work with them on offenders that we have releasing from the jail and what programs they've been offered in jail. There is some new mental health programs that they're working on, and so how we can kind of continue to piggyback on what they've already started to continue on the community to be successful. So we have that meeting with them today. And then again, we've had our intern. We're still working on trying to reduce the number of unemployed offenders in this community. By me graduating on Wednesday, we're hoping to increase the number of opportunities for employers and employments in this community. And then again, some of our agency goals have always been our policy and procedures, and this is our book that we've officially got them completed. I know that's been on my goal for about the last year and a half now. So our policy and procedures have been officially updated, and they will be passed out today at our staff meeting. So all of our staff will have our agency policy and procedures. And then again, just continuing our Thinking for a Change program. We're going to start really documenting the outcomes of who was referred for that program and how they've behaved inside of the program while they've been participating in it. Again, just doing our employee evaluations. We just completed those last week. Still continuing our monthly file audits and document audits, and then again continuing our lunch and learns.
Megan, I want to thank you for going through the process to get bonded, to issue them bonds for people to get employed. I mean, I think if your clients were all employed, we wouldn't have as much problem.
I agree.
And are there jobs available locally, or is there enough?
I would not say there's enough. Again, we have a large population in this community. We are the prison city. So it's anybody who, this program is for anybody who has a record, misdemeanor or felony. So, so again, in this community, it is a little harder to find employment. However, my personal goal is to really start not only working on getting people employed in this community, but also try to maybe somehow develop a transportation system to get people to different parts of the community, whether they be to Atchison, to their welding shop up there, or even to the Johnson County, Wyandotte County area. They do have a lot of warehouses that hire felons as well. I also reached out to a temp service that does a lot of, like, at the Harley Davidson shop over in the Platte City area. They hire a lot of felons, and I'm going to be working with him on how to see about getting our offenders as part of that temp agency to be able to see about transportation back and forth as well. So
I'd rather subsidize transportation to a job than subsidize transportation to take them to another facility when we're full. So, no, that's a good program. Like I said, I support that 100%. Commissioners, you have any questions of Megan?
All right.
all right.
Thanks for all you do.
I do have a question after Jeff
Okay.
gives his presentation.
All right. Mr. Culberson?
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Sorry, I wasn't here earlier. I had a taxpayer walking in unexpectedly, so finished with them before.
You didn't use your out? Oh, I got a meeting?
I started to, but I don't think they would have went for it.
That's all right.
You took
I
care of
figured-
the
I figured
taxpayer
I-
before the commissioner?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You took care of the taxpayer before the commissioner?
I did, sir.
Okay.
That's
very
what he's
good.
supposed to do.
Well, I'm just wondering.
I figured I could move in at the end of the meeting, so it wouldn't really make a difference. So. Maintenance of the existing layers in the last quarter, we constantly keep hundreds of different map layers current with any changes as they happen. This labor-intensive task takes up about 70% of our time. When a tax district changes, boundaries change, a gravel road's paved, census block change, a pond is built, a street vacated, a person is buried, a new fire hydrant's put in, a creek bank moves, a new oil well is drilled, if a new house is built or a structure is torn down, et cetera, we update our map layers as they happen. Creation of new layers in the last quarter, the city map layers that we're building for the NG 911 system for the Sheriff's Department dispatch will be finished up in the next couple weeks. The new SunGuard software they use now required a complete set of maps, including all the cities, to function properly. It's been up and running for a couple months now, and we're fine-tuning the map layers from real-world applications. The cities don't have their own GIS departments other than Leavenworth City, so we did the mapping for the NG 911 for each one of the cities. The county addresses are hitting like 99% accurate. The cities aren't so much, so we're going through and cleaning the city addresses up right now to make sure they're as adequate as possible. I'm on the Mid-America Regional Council Task Force for selecting a vendor for the new 2018 aerial photos. We're going to fly those in the spring, so we're selecting a vendor now. We participate in the MARC project to get the new photos. This saves us about $60,000 over flying them on our own. I'll disperse the new photos to all the other county departments once we get them, and each one of the cities. Each city has agreed to contribute half the cost of flying their respective areas to further reduce our cost to the county for the overall photo project. Statutory-wise, we're required by a state statute to keep the appraiser's office mapping current. That's their parcel maps, ag use, soil maps. Whenever the deeds come in, we get about 15 deeds a day, about one plat a week, survey a week. We process all those on the maps and keep them current. That includes right-of-way changes, vacations, city limits, tax districts, et cetera, et cetera. Future projects, we started on a planimetric map layer. This layer has been requested by other departments such as planning, zoning, and public works. This layer will contain footprints of buildings, sidewalks, curbs, trees, lines, fences, and et cetera. We could contract this layer out, but I feel it would save thousands of dollars to just build it in-house. And budget-wise, we're well within our budgetary constraints for the year. That's all I have.
How often do you fly?
We fly every 2 years, and then the year that we don't fly, I get a supplemental aerial photo set from the federal Farm Services.
And we're able to do that because we belong to Mid-America Regional Council, that we're able to afford doing that, because we didn't belong to Mid-America Regional Council, we could not afford to do it that often.
Yeah, it'd be about $80,000 to fly on our own. It's about $20,000 when we fly with them.
Okay, and then counties west of here don't fly as often?
No,
we do.
there's been a couple times where we were out of sync with the MARC project because they weren't flying every 2 years, but we wanted to fly every 2 years. So on those flight projects, I merged with 3 other counties that were not in the MARC project, and we got the same savings rate. So I either fly with adjacent counties that aren't in MARC, or I fly with MARC. It just depends on what's going on. Sometimes MARC doesn't fly every 2 years, so, but I make sure we fly every 2 years, no matter what it takes. So I'll join with a couple adjacent counties if I need to get it for the same price.
Okay. Well, I think it's kind of important that we do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of offices.
There's nothing mandated that we have to do it every 2 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of offices, especially like the appraiser's office, Public Works, that have to have new photography to pick up new buildings. There's a lot of people in this county, since we have so many creeks and rivers, that have riparian rights. So as the banks move, their acreage changes. The only way to keep track of that is new aerial photography.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons we need photography every single year. So.
Any questions, Mr. Culberson?
Yes. Do the cities help?
With the aerial photos?
Are you're supplying them something? Do they help in return?
Yeah, we every time we have a project that includes the cities, there's some trade-off in either information or cost, or
Okay.
they've been really good to work with.
I noticed under maintenance and existing layers, a pond is built, street vacated, and then I go to page 3, it says map, create flood maps for the city of Easton. That's going back to my dry ponds, wet ponds thought process. And you've done you've mapped new 5-member districts for the clerk's office, and she has that.
Yes, sir.
I would prefer that earlier than later, so I can, calibrate my mind.
Now, the district map that I made is based on the 2010 census, and so I gave her that map with caveat, telling her that those boundary lines that I put on there were A, the only possible place that those lines could be placed based on the census data, but B, not accurate, because our census has shifted so much. We need to really wait to the 2020 data to make those lines accurate.
But it sounds like the system is not going to wait for the 2020. So that's why I would like it in advance, so my mind can prepare.
I'll get you a copy of that today.
We appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Culberson?
One question. When we have these flyovers and you do these maps, does any of this, say Joe Blow out here, he lives way back in the woods somewhere, and he decides, well, I'm just going to build me this 80 by 60 barn, and gets no building permits or anything. So this would detect that he has now a barn on his property.
Exactly.
And, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons the appraisers needs it every year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's all I
Exactly.
need.
And
I
that
thought that's
happens.
probably, it
And that
happens, I
at
know.
least every year.
Yeah.
So,
It's a pretty impressive office. You can go in there and get whatever you need on maps. Nobody's ever visited his office. I'd encourage you to do that, just to get an aerial of your property. They're pretty good pictures, I mean, for a flyover, I think. Anyway, well, thanks a lot, Jeff.
Okay.
Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Do we have anything else?
I don't have any other staff reports.
I want to thank you for this. That's your
Weekly report.
weekly report.
Commissioners, last Friday, Health Department did that health assessment for employees, and that was a really impressive deal. It was well organized. Everybody just boom, 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 went through everywhere. It took about 45 minutes to an hour to get through it, and it was a thorough, real thorough examination. I mean, I was impressed.
I had one department head bragging to me that her carotid arteries weren't clogged up.
No, that's what I was shocked how thorough it was. I mean, I really think we need to do this every year and try to get as many employees as we can to go through that.
It's a really good program, and I don't want to steal any Jamie's thunder. He asked to be on Thursday's agenda for his quarterly report so that he would have a chance to get all the stats put together from the health assessment. But yeah, it was very well received, and I think a good program.
Yeah, it was. I wish all the employees would have did it. You have anything else, Commissioner?
I have one question, backing up to the road projects. I just happened to think of something. On 182nd State and Evans Road, the acquisition part of it, being this is not a PRP program, and so it's because of the road count.
That's correct.
And that's why we're doing this road, which I agree. My question is, who pays for the road acquisition? Because we used to have a program where there wasn't enough people sign up, and so a certain amount of people signed up and they paid so much every year on their taxes.
Benefit district?
Benefit district.
Well, but this started out as a PRP program road 10 years ago.
10
And now
years.
the traffic count has evolved where it's past the 400 cars a day that gives you the low volume road protection.
On the PRP program 10 years ago, are they saying that they didn't have enough signatures then?
No, I think they had all the signatures in. I think some property owners have changed, and they were never recorded with the register of deeds.
Well, I just was wondering, I was wondering who's going to pay for the
That's going to be the
land
tax, it's going to be
acquisition?
sales tax.
So that's going to be up to
Yeah,
us?
sales tax.
It's not going to be to the people
No,
out
it's
here?
not.
Well, that's what, I want to make that clear, so they're not thinking, oh, we're going to
No,
have to pay
no,
for
they're
that?
not, no.
I thought you were coming in from another direction. Is the fund itself,
Well, the RIF fund, or
the
the
RIF
TIF
fund,
fund.
is it paying for it, or the sales tax? That's where I thought you were going.
Right.
Where's the money come from?
But
Well, it'll be part of the project. However, if the project's funded 25-75, then it'll be split equally.
Very good.
Split
I just
ratio.
just happened to think of that, and I just thought I'd ask the question, didn't know about it.
But it would speed the project up
Right.
if the people just went ahead and donated so we could get
started.
to get the plans to the utility companies to get the utilities.
You know, and if everybody's on board and wanting this project, it would, just like this gentleman said, he's been there 3 or 4 times, they're getting tired of seeing him.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I like that
I
idea.
like showing up.
Consistent.
Sometimes a neighbor can get more done than we can.
Right.
Well, if David's office, could, just give them, there's only 4 left, he said.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a call. Like I said, I'm sure they're gonna sign it. It's just one of the matters that's laying there on the counter.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to them. And I was unaware that the Justice Center had a place to drop off old prescriptions.
I was not aware of that either.
I think that's something that
I thought
the
they
public
used to
needs to-
have
once a
once
drop off.
once a year or something like that.
I didn't
But
know that they
actually
could
have
do it
a
every
drop-off
day.
box.
No, that's good to know. Hope more people use it because like you said, they are starting to show up in the water system. prescriptions. So. Anyways, we have anything else? And I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, voting, aye.